and welcome. So in today's episode, we're going to be going into the 4 C's of what makes a successful, healthy and loving relationship. My name is Lily Walford. I am a behavioural profiler specialising in relationships and dating, so successful professional women can find undeniable love. So if you haven't already, subscribe now, because every week we're going to be going into loads of different content of how you can attract the right one and have a fantastic relationship. So what is it that actually makes a successful relationship? Now, I think so many people nowadays, especially the way that online dating has gone, it's gone very superficial. We swipe, we look at someone and say, okay, is that the type of person I want to be with? Just literally just based on looks. So I think the sad thing is, because of that, so many people miss the actual important substance of what actually makes a successful, loving, healthy relationship. And this is where I've developed something called the 4 C's. And I believe every relationship should have these if it's going to be a healthy one. And the first one is communication. It's obvious. If you can't communicate, then you're going to have issues in your relationship. You need to be able to share everything and feel comfortable to share everything, and allow your partner also to feel comfortable in sharing things. And I think the sad thing is, with online dating in particular, I think it's great, but I think where people go wrong is they just stay on Messenger for a long, long time. They just send messages. And within the world of NLP, communication, only 7% is words, which is terrifying, because you think about it, when you're getting to know someone just through, messaging each other, you're only seeing 7% of who they are. So, and also you can read messages and interpret them wrong. And, that's when you sort of meet someone, you think, oh, there's so much spark and it's amazing. And then you meet them and it's like, rubbish. And so to sort of expand a little bit more on what communication is and what it actually is made of. It's made of words, which is 7%, tonality, which is 38%, and then body language, which is 55%. So even like you're looking at me now, you can see things like when we go into sort of behavioral profiling elements, because that's something we also specialize in too. We have a look at things like blink rate. We have a look at where they're breathing from. We have a look at shutter speed, how quickly their eyes open and close. We also see the way their body moves when they're talking, because we can get so much information from that. We can even get things like deception indicators, whether someone's actually being truthful or not in that moment. Because you know what it's like when you've been in those relationships, you're kind of thinking, is that what they really mean? And you have that horrible internal dialogue going on, wondering how to proceed because you don't know how to interpret that situation. And from that, you don't know how to, move forward. So communication is just so freaking important when you get it right. And I think this is one really important element that we take our clients through on 2 of our programs. We've got the Finding Love Group program and also our Elite membership, where we actually train people how to use body language, because our bodies communicate so much, and we want to be able to read the whole person. It's like with the messages, we don't just want to take in, that 7% of that conversation. We want to take in 100% of it, because this way we get to interact at that deeper level. And I think this is where so many people are, missing out, because they don't know how to take in all of that communication at the same time. And it's almost like when we have people who go on dates, I hear this all the time, where they go on dates and they go, oh yeah, he said he wants kids, he said he wants marriage, he said he loves his family and this, that and the other. And yes, you can say things, you can use the words, you can use the tonality. But what you might have not seen in that moment is that when he said that, his feet went underneath his chair. He started leaning back. He started closing up his hands, and his arms were closing into his body, indicating that that wasn't something he actually meant when he was saying it. And I'm not saying men are deceptive, women are deceptive too. We all are. But it's important to actually be able to read that within the moment, even on a video call. If you haven't already, check out the behavioral panel. They actually did they decoded someone from video footage just like this to see if someone was being deceptive or not. And it just shows that you can even read that over a video call. And obviously with COVID-19, I think this is the main way people are dating and meeting each other right now. So even through using something like this, you can pick up so much. And this is why it's like really important, because if you have great communication and you can communicate on that level with each other, you're going to have a deeper connection. You're going to have more trust. You're going to have more honesty. You're going to have more respect. And guess what? From that, it grows love. Because you can't fully love someone unless you fully trust them as well. Otherwise, you're always going to have that, okay, is this the right person? Is he right for me? Am I in the right relationship? And all that horrible negative mind chatter, you know, even like the what ifs, you know, what if there's someone better? So you don't want to be in that situation. So the next 4C is compatibility. Are you actually compatible? Okay, and again, this is where so many people go wrong. They just assume, okay, go on Tinder or just meet someone and there's that attraction, there's a spark, and they think that's enough. And attraction and spark is definitely so important. I think you should have that in every relationship, but it's not the be all and end all. You know, if you've got completely separate goals, you know, to the point where you want to be living in different countries, or you prioritize different things, one of you prioritizes family and the other one prioritizes career, you're going to be drifted apart by those differences, especially if they're, you know, major elements in your life. So you want to make sure that the major elements of your life you're on the same page on, because it means that you're going to have a deeper understanding of each other. You're both going to be striving towards what you actually want, and you're also going to be able to feel confident within your choice. And that's really, really important. You're going to have confidence within that relationship and building the right foundations. So I always say to women, you know, when you go out and date, don't go and date like you would, like, okay, I think I use this example, it's just a little bit easier because it's a bit cringeworthy, but it's just so freaking good. And it's, if you go food shopping, do you have a list for the week? And if you do have a list for the week, you can almost guarantee that you're going to get pretty much every single thing on your list. If you go to the supermarket and do your weekly shop without that list, you're going to be picking up everything and anything. Okay, you're going to have some rubbish stuff that's going to feel good in the moment, and you're going to have some, you know, okay stuff, but you're not going to have everything to make the ideal relationship that you want. And everyone has different needs, and it's understanding what those needs are, you know, in order for you to feel happy and, you know, feeling smitten basically with your partner. And it's identifying what those things are. And if you are struggling to think about what those things are, think about your previous relationships. What was missing for you in order for that to actually work? And that can be a really, really good place. I mean, you can even look at things like deal breakers, like alcoholics, drugs, those different things. They might be deal breakers for you. So it can help you sort of filter out the wrong people early on, so you can actually find the right one. The next one is consideration. And I call this like consideration for like just the relationship. You know, you consider each other, you take each other in consideration, you prioritize that relationship. And I think this is one thing that I personally realized was a huge game changer in my relationship now. Before we, you know, in the relationships that I was in before, it was very much like, okay, you're either the person who supports the other partner, or you're the person who, you know, or you're in the relationship where both of you are just go your separate ways or just do your own thing. But in my relationship now, one thing that's just really, really sacred to me is that the pair of us always do things to prioritize the relationship, whether that's time, whether that's doing, you know, nice little things like making each other cups of tea and coffee, or whether that's doing something that's really going to help us move towards our joint goals in our relationship. So this is where you know and you feel safe and comfortable in that relationship. And I think that's what a lot of people tend to miss as well, that security. Is this something that they actually want? Do they want to be in that relationship? And by having both partners moving towards the same thing and prioritizing each other in that relationship, it's a game changer. Because when you see that, when you experience that, you don't have to question things. You don't have to worry. You don't have to have that insecurity, because you both do things to problem solve, to work together, and to, make sure that you're building the right kind of relationship for the pair of you. And that brings me on to the last one, and this is collaboration. Collaboration is where the pair of you problem solve together. You see your weaknesses and your strengths, and you bring them to the relationship, and you use them in a way that you two can both benefit. For example, Jonam, he's fantastic at words. So I tend to do a lot of copywriting and doing lots of writing and like writing a book at the moment. And he will literally have a look at what I've written, and I know that he will be able to do the grammar for me, reform sentences for me, and do all those different elements. And my strengths are finances and doing, money and numbers. So anything numbers, I tend to do. And it's like, it's not just skill set, it's also the emotional side, the values, the priorities. There's so many different elements where you can have those advantages and disadvantages. And then it's also having a look at your day-to-day life together as a couple, looking at what makes each other happy. It might be saying, oh, that thing you did at my parents, that really pissed me off, can you not do that again? But it's being able, again, bringing in that communication, opening up and saying, look, this is what I need, or this made me feel uncomfortable. Can we talk about this? And this is what brings in that collaboration element. It's working together to make the relationship work. And I think people have this viewpoint where they've seen so many rom-coms and, so many, read so many romantic stories, and they believe that relationships just come together automatically. And I think there's an element of that, but there's an element of needing to prioritize and look after each other. It's almost like having, a plant, or looking after a baby, or, looking after an animal. It's working together to nurture and keep it growing. Okay. Because I think that's where people go wrong. They just think it just works, but it's actually putting that, I won't say effort, because it shouldn't feel like a job and it shouldn't feel hard, but it's just putting that intention there, that you're there for the long run, that you're there to have a relationship that is going to work, that you're in it for the long run, that you're there to enjoy a healthy, loving relationship, and your partner should be coming too with that same intention. Because when you have that, you've got a very strong relationship. So I'm going to leave it there, but any other questions around what actually makes a successful relationship, feel free to jump, put them in the comments. It'd be great to hear those questions, and I'd love to answer them for you. And it might even give me a few ideas for next week's video. So remember to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.